Professor Yoon, thank you very much. Ambassador Park and KFAS, I want to thank you for the opportunity to appear here and for organizing this well-timed event. In the last several months, North Koreans have given a lot of publicity to actions they say demonstrate dramatic progress in their nuclear and missile programs. They've carried out a nuclear test, a satellite launch, a flight test of a medium-range missile, and a ground test of a solid-fueled missile engine. They say they've launched a sea-launched ballistic missile and simulated the re-entry of a ballistic missile. They claim their test in January was a test of a hydrogen bomb, and that they've miniaturized nuclear weapons sufficiently to enable them to be carried on a missile that could reach the United States. Some of these claims are true, some of them are false, and some of them are exaggerated. Experts disagree on how much progress North Korea has already made in its nuclear and missile programs, but all agree that unless these programs are halted, Pyongyang will eventually achieve its stated goals. So why has North Korea apparently accelerated its programs and given so much publicity to its actions? One reason is strategic. North Korea appears committed to achieving the capability to strike the United States with a nuclear-armed missile. I think Pyongyang believes that such a capability would deter the United States from attacking North Korea or defending South Korea in an armed conflict on the peninsula. Another reason is domestic. Kim Jong-un believes the actions will help him at the upcoming May Party Congress to consolidate his grip on power. There's little indication that North Korea would be willing to abandon its nuclear weapons program altogether or even accept meaningful limitations on it. Kim Jong-un may well believe that a nuclear deterrent is essential to shore up the legitimacy and ensure the survival of his regime. I recognize there's an impression, including here in South Korea and with the South Korean public, that the United States has been unwilling to engage diplomatically with North Korea. I don't believe that this is an accurate impression. I believe the Obama administration, coordinating closely with the ROK and with China, has reached out to North Korea and has even relaxed its preconditions for negotiations on the nuclear issue. It is North Korea that has been reluctant to engage on the nuclear issue. It has apparently been determined to continue to make progress in its nuclear and missile programs. North Korea's only proposal dealing with the nuclear issue so far is the proposal to have a moratorium on nuclear and missile tests in exchange for a moratorium by the United States and South Korea on its military exercises. But Pyongyang must have recognized that this was a non-starter, that it was totally unacceptable. Given the apparent insistence by North Korea on continuing its strategic programs and its refusal to negotiate on them, the only alternative now is for the international community to apply pressure on Pyongyang. And so far, until this year certainly, sanctions against North Korea have been much too weak. Now, especially in light of these provocations, sanctions must be dramatically strengthened. Key countries have already imposed their own national sanctions, including the ROK decision to terminate the Kaesong industrial complex. I think this step indicated the seriousness of Park Geun-hye's government in dealing with the North Korean threat. In addition, United Nations Security Council has adopted its strongest sanctions to date in Resolution 2270. The key on sanctions is whether they will be effectively enforced, especially by China, which has by far the greatest economic interactions with North Korea and undoubtedly has more leverage than probably the rest of the international community combined. There have been promising signs from China so far, but only time will tell if Beijing is prepared to apply strong pressure. In addition to imposing powerful sanctions, the U.S. and its East Asian allies need to strengthen deterrence against North Korea. The U.S. and the ROK have demonstrated the strength and the vitality of their mutual defense alliance, including with the largest ever military exercises and the beginning of discussions on deploying the THAAD missile defense system. But the Chinese are right. They're right when they say that pressure alone will not work. If North Korea's nuclear and missile programs are to be limited and rolled back, engagement and negotiations will eventually be necessary. Just like in the case of Iran, if negotiations are to have any chance of succeeding, diplomacy must be backed by pressure, what we call a dual-track approach, that was successful in the case of Iran. For the foreseeable future, negotiation of an agreement completely eliminating North Korea's nuclear program will not be possible. But we should seek an interim agreement that freezes North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. And once North Korea has accepted an interim freeze, we should be prepared to enter into parallel talks on denuclearization and on replacing the armistice with a permanent peace regime. But for now, and most likely for the remainder of 2016, the priority must be pressure. Only if pressure is sharply increased will there be any prospect of diplomacy making headway. Thank you.